what are we going to start with today? Well, in the last time I saw you, we looked at straight lines and gradients, and I just want to start with a nice warm-up question. So there is question number one. What is the equation of the line that you see on the page? And you can vote in the chat with A, B, C, or D. Which one do you think it is? What is the equation of that line? Welcome to Njabolo, who's just joined us, and welcome to Callan, Sisipo, Sylvester. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're having a good Monday. The first question of the day is on the board, and we want everyone to vote. Okay, waiting for those votes to come through. So remember that a straight line will always have the format y equals mx plus c, but then the m will be the gradient, and the c will be the y-intercept. Now the question is, can we see where the y-intercept is? I think the y-intercept is where the line cuts that thing here. So, do we think it's going to be A, B, C, or D? I want to see people commit or put their hands up. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything in the chat yet. Is there maybe like a little delay I'm not aware of? Let's have a look. Okay. So, if I look at this, the y-intercept is 3, but now I don't know what the gradient is. Now, the gradient, there's a couple of different formulas. We can say rise over run. We can say change in y over change in x. We could also say this formula. But sometimes it's just easier to count blocks. So let's go between this point and this point. So I go across by 1 and up by 2. What is the gradient going to be? It looks to me like the gradient is 2. So which of the 4 options is going to be the equation of that line? Let's lock those votes in, everyone. I see Bukle, Anushka. I want to see more people voting. If we're voting, we're learning. It's the active process that I need to... Okay. Krena, you've locked in your vote. Let's keep those votes coming. Don't worry, Gundo. We're just getting going. First question of the day. And today we're going to be focusing on straight lines and parallel lines. And we're just getting our... Now, the correct answer is, everyone, and this is sneaky, it's not A. It's actually C. Who would like to tell me why it's not A and is actually C? I don't understand the gradient. Okay, Callum, what part of the gradient did I lose you on? Just maybe let me know. And then I see Bukle's. Can you explain to us why A isn't the correct answer, Bukle?
Oh, I was so stupid. It's not an equation, it's just an expression.
Yeah. Okay, but
It's supposed
that
to be
was...
y is equal to 2x
I
plus
did it on purpose. Give me a little thumbs up if you can see the screen. We had a bit of a technical problem there, but I'm back. Give me a thumbs up if you can see everything now and everything looks good. Okay, fantastic. So what I was explaining was that if you choose 2 points on the line, we could even choose 2 points over here. If I go across by 1 unit and I go up by 2, 1, 2, the gradient is just going to be 2 over 1. So let me know if that was helpful, Cullen. Did that help you? Or if you have another question, pop your hand up and then I can answer your question. Okay. All right. Now, let us go to another question dealing with straight lines. Now, if I am trying to find the equation of the straight line, what should my first step be in answering this multiple choice question? I want everyone to tell me in the chat, what should step 1 be for finding the equation of the line passing through the points 5, 11 and 9, 3? What should my first step be? Pop what you think I should do first in the chat. And then once we've got a plan of action, we can decide whether or not which answer. Perfect, Naledi, perfect. So step 1 is to find the gradient. And because we've given 2 points, we're going to use that form. So as a first step, I want everyone to work out what the gradient is, and then tell me in the chat what you get for the gradient. Nice, Asipo, you're spot on. So let's have a look. We go 11 minus 3 over 5 minus 9, which would be 8 over what? 8 over minus 4, which is minus 2. Okay, now we have a choice. We know that we want to find what C is. That's the one method some people were using in the last lesson. And what they were doing was they were subbing in one of the points. Okay, so if we're given a choice between these 2 points, I think I would probably just sub in 5, 11. Or the other method we were using, some people were using, but they were going y minus 11 equals the gradient, which is minus 2. And then we had a bracket, and then inside that bracket would be x minus 5. So there's 2 choices. I think probably I'm going to stick with the one on the left, but both methods are fine. I want you to use a method of your choosing, and then I want you to tell me which of the answers, A, B, C, or D, is correct. And I'm going to get rid of the this bit, because we know the answer, the gradient is minus 2. So it's just this bit over here, which we need to get rid of. Okay, let's have a look. So I'm going to go for the method where I sub the point into it. So we get 11 equals minus 2 times 5 plus C. This minus 10 goes to the other side and becomes 11 plus 10. And C is 21, which means this must be 21. And the correct answer is D. So the equation of the straight line going through those 2 points is just D. Give me a score out of 10 if you understood how to find the equation of the line perfectly. Give yourself a 10. If you have no idea, give yourself a 0. If you sort of know, but not that great, 5. Tell me how you're feeling about finding the equations of straight lines. Okay. And it just helps me judge kind of where you guys are and how quickly I need to go. All right, let's do another one. But this time, I'm going to take it up a notch. I'm going to get fractions involved. So I want you to work out what is the equation of the line that is going through these 2 points. And we know that step 1 is going to be finding the gradient. And we know that step 2 is going to be finding C. I want you to work that out and then either put your hand up to ask a question. Remember, we can take live questions here. That's the wonderful thing about being live on the internet. Or you can put it in the chat, but over to you guys. Show me what you can do. Which of the 4 do you think is correct? Hmm. Okay, which of the 4 do we think is the correct one? It seems like our gradient should be minus 3/8, but now we have to find C. And so we need to see what point would be easy. I think I'm going to put 5 minus 8. So what we notice is that we can put a minus 8 and we can put a 5 in there. And what I want to know is what is the correct answer to the question going to be? Is it going to be A, B, C, or D? Pop your answer in the chat. Okay, I see a couple of answers coming through. I see answers from Kwena, from Naledi, from Bukle. I want to see everybody pop your answers in. I'm not worried if you're wrong or right at this stage. I just want to see students participating. We will learn together as we go. So we have equals minus 15/8. And then when it comes across, we basically are going to have that. Now, obviously, my calculator will come in handy now. What are you getting? Okay, I can be a bit sneaky here and use some of my maths teacher powers and say, that's minus 64/8 plus 15/8. Now, just use your calculator. You don't need to be this sneaky. But I suspect I'm getting minus 49/8. I know, maths teacher powers. Those are advanced powers. So what I'm getting is minus 49/8. And so I see that minus 3/8 is here, minus 49/8. And so I get C. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you followed that one. Give me a thumbs down if I lost you. That was a bit tricky because it had lots of fractions. Okay. Okay, well, let's do another multiple choice one. Let's do this one. I want you to find me the equation of the straight line that has a gradient of 4 and passes through the point 1, 6. So which of the four options do you think is correct for that multiple choice question? Anushka, absolutely. You read my mind. We do need to do it. We need to just, getting the equations of straight lines is like, it's bread and butter. You need to get so good at it that you just can do it in your sleep. So we're just going to keep practicing until it's like boring. Then we know when it's boring, then we know you know it well. It's still too exciting for us to move on. I know some students do like the other method, so I will show the other method for students who prefer that. So that's where we have these two brackets, and I'm just using the point. And then this method is just to take the point 1, 6 and sub it in. So you can use either of those two methods. I'll call it method 1 or method 2. I seem to be encouraging method 1 most of the time, but if you know how to use method 2, you can use that. Which of the four options do you think is correct? Okay, so if I put a 6 where y is, and I put a 1, then basically I get 6 minus 4 is c, and c is 2. So 4x plus 2. And so A is the correct answer. Okay, that was looking pretty good. Okay, let's do some of this here. I want you to find me the equation of the line going between A and B. So the one in yellow, I want you to find me the equation of the line between A and B. The one I've highlighted in yellow. So over to you, and then when you feel comfortable, you can put your answer in the chat. Today is definitely straight line day. We are finding many straight lines. Many straight lines. So 0 minus 2, and sometimes it can be a good idea to even draw little things to link, and then 4 minus 2. So we get minus 2 over 2, which is minus 1. So my gradient is minus 1. And then to find, I'm going to use the point 2, 2 to help me out. So what is my final equation going to be of a straight line? So I get minus x plus 4. Give me a thumbs up if you got the same as that. Give me a thumbs up. Fantastic. Give me a thumbs down if you didn't get it, just so I know. So I'm monitoring the class. And now for bonus points, going back to the first week, I want you to find me the distance between AB And I also want you to find me the midpoint between A, B. So we're just doing a little bit of a throwback into previous lessons. You need to use something called the distance formula to help you find the distance between 2 points. So I'm going to put the distance formula on the board to help you. And I will also put the midpoint formula on the board to help you. But I want you to think back, and if you weren't with us, it would be worth going back to look at those lessons. But I will put the two formulas for the distance formula and the midpoint formulas on the board. Find me the distance between A and B, and find me the midpoint between A and B. And then you can put it in the chat. Or sometimes your calculator will write it as 2 root 2. And what is my midpoint going to be? So I get, for my midpoint, 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 over 2, so I get 3. And then 2 plus 0, so I'm adding the two y coordinates together divided by 2, I get 1. And just in case you're wondering where they come from, so look, there's the 2 there, there's the 4, so those are the ones that are being added together to get that. And then the y's are over here, so they're being added together and they're being divided by 2. Okay, so that was just a recap of some stuff that we've done earlier. But yeah, I think, are there any questions about the distance or midpoint formula? Please let me know in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to move on, but just let me know. Okay. All right, let's do one more question before we have our break. What is the equation of the line shown in this diagram? What is the equation of the line shown in this diagram? Is it A, B, C, or D? Remember our 2 steps. What are we looking for? Which one of these do we know easily? So, Anushka, about your distance formula question, it doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent. So you could go x2 minus x1, but then you must also do y2 minus y1. Or if you do it the other way around, then you would go x1 minus x2 squared. But you could also go, or not could also go, then you have to go y1 minus y2 squared. So if you start with ones, you must start with ones twice. If you start with twos, you start with twos twice. As long as you're consistent, it doesn't make a difference. Does that help, Anushka? Okay, so the thing I'm honing in on for this question is I see the y-intercept is -1. So really, the answer must either be A or it must be B. You need to tell me which one you think it is. Okay, so we have to work out the gradient. So let's go and choose 2 points on the line. So there's one and there's one. If I go across by 1, I have to go up by 2. You can see this again here. If you go across by 1, you go up by 2 to stay on the line. So the gradient will be the change in y, so the change in y over the change in x. And we can see that it's 2 over 1. So the equation of the line must be 2x minus 1, and the answer will be A. All right, everyone, that is the first half of today's lesson, and you know what's coming next. It's time to let your brain free. So let me share the screen again. Why is it not showing my camera? Stop share. Oh, there we go. Okay. Cool. All right. So what I want you to do is I want you to stand up. I want you to turn on your cameras. And we're just going to unwind a bit. So we're just going to take some deep breaths. And breathe out. Breathe in. And then breathe out. One more deep breath. Breathe out. Okay, then just shake out your arms a bit, loosen them up. You want to get nice and loose, no tension in your body. Shake out your legs. Shake out your legs. And then let's roll your shoulders. Just roll them back. Roll them forward. And then shake out your arms one more time. And shake out your legs one more time. Okay, so we've got some oxygen. We've relaxed a little bit, so our body's not too tense. Let's just get some blood flow. We're just going to do 10 jumping jacks, which are like this. Make sure that you're not going to whack anybody or any piece of furniture around you. And we'll go in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And our exercise mini break is complete. And I'm sure that your body will thank you for it later in the lesson. But before we can move on, we need to have a proper puzzle. So here is today's puzzle. And I want to know, what is a red triangle worth in this particular question? What is a red triangle worth in this particular question? Maybe we should start with the green dots. Who has some ideas for me? Yes, Naledi, I agree with you. The green ones must be 5. So let me write them in. Does anybody else have some ideas about the yellow? Five times what plus what gives me 12? Yep. It can only be 2. All right, now comes the final question. What is a red triangle going to be worth? Yes, Sam, I agree. A yellow block is 2. Agree, Sylvester? So we're all on the right track. Now the question is, what is this thing or this thing going to be? So we know that 5 times 2 is 10. We know we have our red square times 5, and we know this is 5. So what does this number have to be over here? I think it has to be 1, because 10 times 1 minus 5, or 10 minus 5, would give us 5. So this has to be 1. Very nice, Cullen. Very, very nice. You're on it. You're on it. All right, everyone. So we have had a nice little break. Tell me how your concentration is. Out of 10, are you a 10 out of 10 still on concentration? Are you a 0? Have you fallen off the cliff? Or are you at 5? Where is your concentration as we go into the second half of the lesson? Oh, it's good concentration you got there, lady. Okay. Now, what I want to speak about in the next part of today's lesson is something called parallel lines. Now, parallel lines, we have the symbol that looks like that. And what you'll notice is that parallel lines are always the same distance apart. But there's something else that's important about parallel lines. Parallel lines have the same gradient. So you'll notice in this formula, the red one is 2x plus 5, but look at the number in front, it's a 2. If I look at the green one, it has a gradient that is the same, it's 2 as well. And you can see these lines are parallel. But you'll notice they have different y-intercepts because they cut the y-axis at different parts. And if I wanted to draw another graph that was parallel to this, you know what, I could do that by just drawing this. Let's see if I can do it properly. Oh, I'm doing pretty well today. What do you notice about the blue line? It is also parallel. And the reason it's parallel is that I drew it so that the gradient was 2. So like if I go across by 1, I go up by 2. Just like here, if I go across by 1, I go up by 2. Or here, if I go across by 1, I go up by 2. So all of these lines are parallel and they have the same gradient. Okay, so we have to bring this into our ideas for today. So here's a multiple choice question. A line parallel to this line would have what gradient? A, B, C, or D? What gradient? So there's a line here and there's another line parallel. What would be the correct answer? Oh, you guys are too good for this. I think I'm that was too easy for you. Okay, the gradient would be 3 because it has to match the number in front there. Fantastic. Okay, next question. Things are getting a bit more exciting. Determine whether or not the following 2 lines are parallel. So I want you to either say yes or no in the chat. Are these lines, these are 2 straight lines, but they're written a little bit differently. Are they parallel? Yes or no? You tell me. The people are voting. Let the votes continue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this in a way that I'm more used to. So I'm going to bring the 2x across, and I get y equals minus 2x plus 1 for this one. And then this one over here is going to be y equals minus 2x plus 3. Now that I've done a little bit of magic, I've rearranged the equations. Let's vote again. Do you think these lines are parallel, or do you think they're not parallel? Okay, so the sneakiness was that if you wrote the straight lines in standard form, you could see that the gradients were the same, but you couldn't see that if they were in non-standard form. And so something we need to remember is that whenever we deal with straight lines, if you want to see if the gradients are the same, having them in standard form is a very useful idea. Okay, but that I set you up there. Like I kind of set a trap there for you, so you don't have to feel bad. Okay, I'm going to come back to that one. Okay, let's do this one. a line has the equation 3x plus 5y equals 7. What is the gradient of this line? Is it A, B, C, or D? Now I'm turning up the heat a little bit now, so take some time, think through it. What is the gradient of this line? I wonder what we should do to make it easier to find the gradient. What can we do? I wonder if we shouldn't do something similar to what we did last time. Maybe that can help us. So I feel like I want to get that 3x to the other side of town, and I'll get minus 3x plus 7, but then I've still got a 5 hanging around. So how would I get rid of that 5? Well, I would have to divide both sides by 5. But now this 5 is hanging out at the bottom. So what do I do with that? Well, what I can do is I can divide the minus 3 by 5. And then the x is just sitting here. And then this would be 7 over 5. So according to standard form, the gradient should be minus 3 over 5, which should be B. Okay, so again, this trick about moving something into standard form is definitely a useful thing to have up your sleeve. Okay, let's keep rolling. Okay, I want you to tell me whether or not these two lines are parallel or not. So we have y plus 1 equals x and x plus y equals 3. Are those two lines parallel? Yes or no? You tell me. I want the people to vote. And you never know when I'm going to be sneaky, so you got to keep your eyes on the prize here. So y equals x plus 1 would be this one. And y equals minus x plus 3 would be that one. And what I notice is the gradient of this one is 1. The gradient of this one is minus 1. And so they are not parallel. Didn't catch you that time. Well done. Okay, now upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. So you have to find me the equation of the line that, oh wait, the line passing through point and the line. No, I don't want that. No. Let's do, okay, let's do this one. Sorry, I'm just going to move on because you guys, you kind of know what's going on. So I don't want to give you too easy a question. Okay, upgrade question. It says, write down the equation of the line that is parallel to y equals 6x plus 1, but also passes through 0 to 8. So just to set this question up, there is a line, 6x plus 1. So let's say it's the green line. We now have another line that passes parallel to the green line, but goes through a different point. And they want you to figure out what is the equation of the red line. So you tell me, I want you to try and work that out and write it in the chat. But if you're confused, I encourage you to ask a question. So what is the equation of the line that is parallel to the green one, but goes through this point here? Pop it in the chat. I think we all know that if it's parallel, the gradient must be the same. But what we don't know is what is the C value. But what's lovely about this C value is if X is naught, it's actually giving you the Y-intercept. Now you can plug the value in, it's not wrong. So let's do that. I'm putting a 0, but what is C going to be? C must be 8, because the 0 essentially doesn't, 6 times 0 does nothing. So the equation of the red line is going to be 6x plus 8. So almost like we piggybacked. We said, look, the gradient of the green one is 6. Therefore, the gradient of the red one must also be 6 because they are parallel to each other. All right. So give me a thumbs up or give me a score out of 10. Did you follow that? Give me 10 perfect, 0 nothing, 5 in the middle. I want to see a score of how well you followed that to see how difficult the next one goes. And be honest, because remember, I can't see your faces, so I need to read the text, not the body language. Okay. Determine the equation of the line that passes through the point passes through the point 1 minus 5, but is parallel to this line. So there is a line, but it's not in standard form. And the line, so let's just say the line looks like this. I don't know if it looks like this, but whatever. There's another line which is parallel to that. And on that line is the point 1 minus 5. You need to tell me, you need to work out what is the equation of that red line. So what do you think the first thing we should do is? I want someone to put in the chat, what is step 1? What is step 1 going to be? Help a classmate out. What is my first step going to be as I go on a journey to find the equation of the red line? I think I don't know what the gradient of the blue line is. If I put this in standard form, then it would be minus 2x plus 1. What is the gradient of the blue line? So actually it looks wrong. I've drawn it the wrong way around because, yeah. The gradient is going to be negative 2. So in the reality, the line actually is facing the other way, but it doesn't matter for now. Now, if the blue line's gradient is minus 2, the gradient of the red line, because it's parallel, must also be minus 2. And now you can work out the equation of the red line for me. So I'll give you some time to do that. You can do it. What is the value of C that I need to get? So if I move things around, so that's a minus 2. So on this side, it becomes a plus 2. And so this becomes minus 3. And the equation of the line should then be minus 2x minus 3. All right. So I think we are going to call it's a nice place to finish for tonight. If we look at what we learned today, we learned how to practice finding the equations of straight lines with different information. We also spoke about the fact that sometimes they give you straight lines in non-standard form. And if you put them back into standard form, it's very easy to see the gradient and the y-intercept. So that's a trick you need to remember. The other thing that we looked at was parallel lines have the same gradient. And so sometimes if they give you a line that is parallel to another one, you can almost piggyback and steal the gradient from the one line and use it to find the equation of the other. And so that's the main idea that we focused on. Now,